About 2:01. Alrighty, hello everyone. I'm Samantha Alspaugh. I'm our Director of Global Accounts and Partnerships at Rapid SOS. So I'm very happy that you could spend part of your day here with us. For those of you who this is your first year, R23 is Rapid SOS's annual event where we aim to foster a sense of unity and shared purpose among all stakeholders in emergency response system. That's from our technology partners to our public safety partners. And then if you are here and not familiar with Rapid SOS as a whole, Rapid SOS is an intelligent safety platform that securely links life-saving data from two monitoring centers, 911 and first responders in an emergency. So this is our opportunity to connect and collaborate. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to today's panel of experts from both sides of the industry, right? And both sides of the business, the tech and the public safety. So with us today, we have Cornelius Young, who's SVP of Product Management for Cambridge Mobile Telematics. We have Mike Armitage, ENP and Executive Director of Calhoun County's Consolidated Dispatch Authority. And lastly, we have David Deniston, who is the Director of Risk Management for McNeil and Company. And he is also Regional Director for the Association of Fire Districts of New York. So without further ado, panelists, I'm going to let you introduce yourself more to the group and shed some light on why we're here talking about emergency response together. So Cornelius, I'll start with you. Michael, you'll be next, and then David will round it out with you. All right.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Sam. It's great to be here today, and I'm honored to be part of this panel discussing such an impactful topic. I'm Cornelius Young. I'm the Senior Vice President of Product at Cambridge Mobile Telematics. And Cambridge Mobile Telematics is the world's largest telematics service provider, which means we have a ton of data. And we use this data to help make the world's roads and drivers safer. We're in the business of delivering peace of mind and safety and security with crash detection and emergency response, and getting help for people when they need it most. And we work with the largest insurance companies across the world, as well as gig companies, commercial fleets, and the auto manufacturers to help deliver peace of mind to their customers. I'm looking forward to the discussion today, and it's great to be here.
All right, I'm Michael Armitage, Executive Director at Calhoun County Consolidated Dispatch Authority. We're located in Southwest Michigan. If you're familiar with Michigan, it'd be right over here. Our population is about 136,000. We dispatch for 8 police agencies, 1 EMS agency, and 19 fire departments. Our jurisdiction includes the biggest city would be Battle Creek. And then for highways, we have I-94 that runs east and west, and I-96 that runs north and south. So as far as crashes with 2 major highways traversing our county and along with our urban population, we do have a significant number of incidents involving traffic crashes, and I'm looking forward to discussing this more during this panel. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Dave Deniston, Director of Risk Management with Emergency Services Insurance Program. We insure fire departments and ambulance services across the United States. So in this role, I get to work with a number of different agencies, listen to their concerns and see what we can do to help make them safer operations. On the emergency response side of things, past chief of the Cortlandville Fire Department here in Central New York, fire commissioner in the Virgil Fire District. So my role is, as far as that goes with this, is trying to keep my responders as safe as possible as we move things forward. So I am thrilled and honored to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. We also really appreciate you all being here today. And as someone who deals a lot within the telematics space at Rapid SOS, I'm honored to be leading this and having this discussion with you. So, well, let's go ahead and hop in. Cornelius, I'll start with you on the technology side. Could you elaborate on how safety really fits into your company's mission and why it's a priority for you in today's world?
Yeah, absolutely. Safety is the cornerstone of our mission at CMT. Our mission is literally to make the world's roads and drivers safer. And we're doing that in a couple of different ways. So the first way is prevention, and helping people be safer on the roads, things like safer routes, as well as improving risky driving behaviors that lead to crashes. So one of the riskiest is hard braking. And so if we can cut down on the amount of hard braking drivers are doing, we can cut down on crashes. And so, we are totally focused on, working with drivers to help prevent crashes before they even happen. But if they do happen, we want to be able to detect those timely and get people the potentially life-saving help that they're going to need. And this is core to our mission and our team. And, this is super exciting for us to get up in the morning and really help deliver on this, because we are literally, saving lives and reducing injuries on the roads. And in today's world, this is, safety is super important and very critical. What we're seeing in terms of some of the trends, 1.35 million deaths a year on the roads worldwide. In the US, traffic fatalities are the highest they've been in 16 years. And it's the most vulnerable on the roads that are impacted as well. Pedestrian deaths are the highest in 40 years. Cycling deaths are the highest since 1990. And unfortunately, these numbers were going down. Well, fortunately, they were going down until 2007, when the iPhone was introduced. And with smartphone adoption accelerating, we've seen a direct correlation with some of these fatalities and distracted driving. When you look at some of the data that we have, about 58% of trips on the roads today involve some form of phone screen interaction. So people are texting, they're tweeting, they're TikToking, Facebooking. And drivers are spending on average 2 minutes and 12 seconds of every hour interacting with their phones. And so this is having, unfortunately, a direct impact on the trends we're seeing with fatalities and distraction. And one other thing that we see is, when we've looked at all the crashes that we're detecting, 34% of them have active phone distraction 60 seconds before the crash. And some have it while the crash is happening. So unfortunately, these trends are here. We have the smartphone, and we are working to try to, mitigate that as much as we can through prevention and then crash detection and emergency response.
Thank you. And with some of those insights on what kind of like driver behavior, can you talk a little bit about the value of CMT to both an insurance company and, let's say, automotive OEM?
Yeah. So, one of the things that, one of the key things that we're trying to do with telematics technology is deliver more compelling value propositions for auto OEMs and for insurance companies for their customers. These are areas, these are companies that don't have a ton of interaction and engagement with their customers via their apps. And so we're trying to leverage telematics technology to bring more compelling value props to those apps to drive increases in engagement. And crash detection and response is, from all of our research, one of the top value propositions. Customers really like it. With the feedback that we've gotten through all the surveys we've done is, it's a value prop they value, and they really want to get it from their insurance company or their auto OEM. That's a nice sort of value added service that they can provide.
Great, thank you. And that actually segues great. Michael, I'd love to talk to you about now how that collaboration with the public companies, like let's talk about the tech companies, OEMs, insurance companies, how the collaboration between that and public safety is really transforming emergency response.
Yeah, thank you. So really, in the 911 field, the data is so important to affect appropriate response to an incident. And right now, about 33% of all 911 calls that are received are misdials. And one of the things we're seeing with technology emerging, especially more of the simplistic type of notifications, is we're getting a lot of crash notifications now. And those are, to a point, becoming almost like a 911 hang-up, because it can be your phone detects something that it thinks is a crash, but it's not a crash. So these more integrated technologies, where we're getting the additional data letting us know about, let's say, the speed of the vehicle, if the vehicle rolled, if airbags were deployed, that really gives us a picture to be able to better tailor the response for police or fire and EMS. And being able to have that information saves time and it saves on resources as well to be able to tailor a more appropriate response. And about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we did a study where we did a trial comparing taking a call for an accident versus having that call accompanied by this additional data. And it does increase, it does decrease, I'm sorry, the amount of time it takes to process the call when we have that data, because we can just get that information to the responders and really have a better picture of what's going on the scene. Because some of these more severe accidents, a lot of times, if in some systems, it'll just be an open line. So that doesn't really, if the person's unconscious, doesn't really help us much. But again, if that open line is accompanied by this data showing that, you know, maybe there's an ejection, maybe there's, or that there has been airbag deployment, the speeds, gives us a better picture of what's going on so that we can respond more appropriately.
Great, thank you. And I've heard you say a couple of things of, speed at time of impact and the car, the rollover detected. In addition to those, are there other kind of like key data points that are most valuable to 911 in a crash?
We really want to look at those, mechanisms of injury. So, I would say that those are probably those three things: speed, but speed, airbags, rollover are important. But also, if there's occupant data, if we know that when this vehicle was involved in the accident, that 3 occupants were detected, that really helps first responders, because sometimes maybe they get to the scene and they only see 2. Maybe there's an ejection that they weren't aware of. So being able to have that occupant data as well is very helpful for responders.
Yeah, awesome. Good to know. And then just kind of overarching, I know we've really just dove right into crash data, but could you just describe in general how your agency leverages Rapid SOS and the impact of data in general on your community?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use Rapid SOS daily at our call taking positions. We're using it for better location information, especially on cell phones. We're using it to get alerts from alarm companies. We use Rapid SOS Premium, where we brought in our map layers so that when we look at that Rapid SOS map, we can see what response areas cover which areas in the county. So you can see if a call comes in on that map, whose jurisdiction it is, in addition to what we have in our CAD system. So we're leveraging it quite frequently. And one of the other things that is becoming very highly used in the county is populating school maps into Rapid SOS. So through an integration that Rapid SOS has now, hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to have the majority of our school districts with their floor plans in Rapid SOS. So that just another piece of data that's going to help us help first responders as they respond to incidents.
So thank you very much. I love that you're leveraging the maps. Those are critical. And obviously we have a whole segment on school safety, so it's top of mind for us as well. All right, David, I want to switch gears a little bit so we can hear from you. We've been kind of diving into data in general, so I'd just like to hear your opinion on, how the availability of more data helps emergency response and helps them more effectively from your point of view.
I think we live in a day and age now where everybody understands the power of data and that data is king. But there's so much data out there. It's what we do with it, how we compile it, and then how we analyze it and use it to benefit, everyone involved. So, Cornelius mentioned the hard braking and the distracted driving and all those things. As an insurance provider and as an emergency services provider, it's important for me to understand that my drivers are distracted as well. And my drivers have some of these terrible traits that everybody else has out there on the road. So when we're hard braking, when we're taking corners too fast, when we're not, stopping at intersections like we should be, and all of those kind of things, as an agency, the more data that I can gather, and everybody gets nervous about data going, oh, there's Big Brother watching me. It's, Big Brother trying to tell me what I'm doing right and wrong. No, we're trying to coach you and we're trying to help you through this. So the more data that we have and the more we can analyze that and use that to make each of our individual drivers better drivers and more productive, the better off we're going to be. So it's a matter of it. And we see a lot of times where we introduce telematics or we introduce cameras in the vehicles or some new function, and we see, kind of a short-term gain from that because everybody is using it and they're paying attention to it. And then we kind of get complacent with it. And all of a sudden we're not seeing the same results because we failed to use that information correctly and we failed to take the right steps once we had that data. So anything that we can do, again, to provide the right data, to provide some kind of analytics with that data, what does this data mean and everything else becomes hugely important for us. When we get into, some more of the things that Michael's talking about as first responders, the more data I have, the better decisions I can make on responding to a call. If we've got instant access to correct and accurate data, it takes some of the human factor out of it. And anybody that's been a 911 dispatcher, you get one person that's called and they're screaming on the phone and you get there and you find out somebody's got a little prick in their finger and a drop of blood. But oh my gosh, the world was coming to the end. That gets translated through the dispatcher to something really terrible is happening here. And then we get there and it's nothing. And then we've got the opposite extreme where, somebody's like, well, could somebody come down here and check this out? And you've got a life or death situation. So if we're able to use that data, compile that data and put it together and put that in the hands of the responders to say, this is what you've got. This was the speed of the vehicles when this crash occurred. These were some of the G-forces that were exerted. Take it to the extreme of this is the blood pressure from the watch that this person in the vehicle is currently, utilizing. I can temper my response to the urgency of that call. So again, by using that data and using it efficiently, we can make it safer for everybody involved.
Great, David. As you touched on the fire response and the response part of it as well, what other tools and technology are really instrumental in your efforts in responding to crashes or anything that really needs, anytime the community needs support?
Again, anything that provides us with better data and then provides, and again, if we just take the raw data and then don't do anything with it, we got so much data that we're drowning in it. We really can't make good decisions. So, any kind of AI functionality, anything that can kind of work in the background and put some of this together and go, I not only have A, but I have B, C, and D here going on as well. That will allow us to, give the proper response and take the necessary actions.
Great, thank you. And I have a question for all of you, but David, I'll start with you since we're since you're kind of talking right now anyway. But how do you envision the evolution of emergency response? You kind of touched on it with AI, but like over the next decade, right? What opportunities and challenges do you foresee around crash or emergency response in general?
I think it's really exciting, and starting from the pinpointing of location, where are we actually responding to? Where is this call? Do we have the right information? Where's the caller's location compared to where it is that we're going compared to a street address that something might track. So, when you start looking at all of that available, now when, we get alerted to a call and I'm looking at it and I see not only where they're sending me, but I see where the caller's location is in comparison to where we're being sent. All of a sudden you can start processing that information going, something's not right here, or I know that I can get here a lot quicker by taking a different route, or I know, again, the more data we have, what time of day it is, what's traffic flow patterns. I get in my car and my GPS tells me don't go this route right now, go another route. So any of those kind of things that we can utilize in emergency response is only going to help shorten those response times and get the right people in the right places at the right time.
Thank you. And Michael, do you want to give your response next on just the opportunities and challenges do you foresee over the next decade with emergency response technology?
Yeah, I have to completely agree with David on this, that You know, I think the challenge is there is so much data out there. How do we ingest it? And I think the opportunity really comes through advances in AI to be able to start processing some of this information, maybe making red flags. So, you know, even something as simple as, let's say a caller is calling and we enter an address, but the GPS or rapid SOS location or any alley is showing that their phone is way far away from the address that's being put into CAD. There's some sort of flag saying this doesn't quite add up. All the way to, you know, what I really love to see in the future is taking like crash notification data and maybe even things like fire alarms and all these other data sets that will be coming in or available to 911 and almost using AI as a way to prioritize them, you know, maybe a probability scale. Like for an accident, AI can look at what data is coming in and have a probability of injury, for example. Just those types of things to make the dispatcher's life a lot easier so that we're not trying to sort through all this data and make decisions at the same time, to be able to have that maybe in the background, some of that information analyzed and digested quickly by AI.
Yeah, and I would just add, you know, we detect a lot of crashes, and this technology is here today, and we're detecting crashes that need EMS, and we're detecting crashes that don't need it. And, you know, from my perspective, it's not Michael and David's job, at least I don't want it to be their job, to have to filter out those two things. And we're going to detect all kinds of different crashes. And so, you know, we're pretty thoughtful about what we're sending to EMS with our technology. And so we are looking at the severity, the likelihood of, you know, some of these things like injuries, and really just trying to escalate the highest severity things. And having the partnership with Rapid SOS is great because now that data is going in real time. But I think, you know, as we look out 10 years and, you know, our watches are detecting crashes, we can't just be sending a ton of data to 911 and expect them to figure out what's real and what's not. We have to take responsibility for that. And, you know, we're already doing some of that. We have a lot of that data today to just escalate the highest severity stuff that most likely needs EMS. And we're all going to need to do that as we develop these technologies.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Guys, we do have a question from the group. And so the question is, how or do you foresee crash detection needing to be implemented differently in rural counties versus more urban counties? So, Michael, I don't know if you or Cornelius want to take that one.
Yeah, I think just from our experience, I haven't seen a difference there. You know, we're detecting crashes all over the world, all over the country, and getting those people the help that they need. So from my perspective, there's not a big difference between the two.
Yeah, I would only add, as far as the notification itself, I don't know that there's a major difference in maybe how we use the data, other than I think it could be more valuable actually in rural areas, because a lot of times in rural areas that might go undetected otherwise. You might not have those secondary callers giving you additional information. So if you're getting this additional data with the call in a rural area, it might be more valuable in that you just don't have the passerbys or the onlookers that are providing that supplemental information.
Yeah, I guess I would just add too, you know, it's the details of the data that really matters. What are the G forces that have been exerted? What information do we have so we can make that decision?
That's a great point. And Michael, you make a great point with the secondary callers, right? In the city, you're going to have probably multiple pins that drop for a car crash as people are driving past, whereas you know, in a rural area, it can go undetected for quite a while. All righty, awesome. Well, I don't believe we have any other questions in the chat, so we have about 5 more minutes left, so I don't know if there's anything that anyone wants to to say real fast before I conclude us.
Oh, I think the AI features, when you talk about what's exciting in the futures, I think the AI features and capabilities are really what, I'm watching a football game last night and, emotions are running high and should this team go for it on fourth down or not? And they're telling the statistical probability of whether that fourth down play will be successful or not. Now we know there's a ton of outliers and that data alone doesn't paint the picture. But boy, it sure should give you the decision-making capabilities to go, yeah, we really need to punt the ball here, or let's go for it. So that's, the more of that we can put in the hands of responders and people making the decisions, I think it's going to be huge for us.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. And I'll add real quick, if you don't mind, one of the first questions I was talking about relationships, and what excites me is what I view as going from regulation to collaboration. What I mean by that is, I think over the last 10, 20 years, but even way beyond that, companies provided a service to their customers and they followed the regulation on how to get emergency services or 911, for instance, to work. And I think we're moving into more of a collaboration where, as these services are being provided, there's an expectation of the customer and a value that comes to the company in having these collaborations with public safety to be able to not just do the bare minimum, but be innovative to provide better service to customers during an emergency. So the collaboration that we're seeing over the last 5 to 10 years for me is really exciting.
Cornelius, any last words before I wrap us?
No, this has been a great session. I think, like I said before, I think I like the idea of the collaboration of the tech coming together with the public services to help make this, better for everyone. And, we certainly don't, on the tech side, want to inundate public services with stuff they don't, need to be getting. And so we need to be thoughtful as we grow this technology to get the right stuff there.
All right, well, thank you all. So 2 key takeaways that I'm leaving with is really that there is power in the data today, and that there is a ton of power in the future of AI, right? And how we all work together to get the right data, right time, right place. So Cornelius, Michael, David, we sincerely thank you each for joining us and sharing your insights. Thank you so much for being part of the Rapid SOS community. So thank you. And for everyone else on the session, if you have any questions and wish to connect, you can reach out to myself via email. I can have one of our moderators put my email in the chat, or connect with me on LinkedIn. And there are more engaging sessions coming up. So thank you all for being part of the event today. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great. Bye.